What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you guys through the ultimate guide to the upcoming Game Week 30. So yes, I know, double Game Week 29 tonight, a lot of action will be taking place. United taking on Brentford, Newcastle versus West Ham. I've got a ton of players in those fixtures and that's why I'm waiting for the team selection that'll probably be released tomorrow after the games finish. But I wanted to kind of do an ultimate guide video. I finished work, I wanted to create a video, so I'll be going over some more general talking points relating to the upcoming Game Week 30 and the future. Now these talking points cover the stats review, we're then going to move on to the fixture schedule from now till Game Week 38, and then finally we're going to be looking at 6 different CAMC considerations. So yes, you guys heard that right, the CAMC for Game Week 30 is absolutely mental, so many options to look at, and who are you guys going to go for? Don't worry though, I'll be discussing all of them at the end of this video, so make sure you guys stick around for that. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. Now firstly, going over the stats review. As you guys know, I love the stats. In terms of FPL, I'll be going over the attacking stats first, then going over the defensive stats. And these will be split up into 2 different departments. The first department is going to be the entire season. As I've mentioned, I'm recording this before the last games in double Game Week 29. So United, West Ham, Newcastle, and finally Brentford have played one less fixture. Then in terms of the right hand side, I'll be going over the last 6 game weeks at a minimum. Because of the blanks, because of the doubles, I've gone for 6 game weeks at a minimum. So some of these teams have actually played 9 fixtures. But don't worry, I'll be going through the kind of different departments as we go along. But the first stat I'm going to cover is going to be the attacking stat, and I'm going to choose XG non-penalty. Now I always say this, I go for the non-penalty variant because penalties are quite hard to predict, and that's why I'm removing them from the XG. So on the left hand side, let's go over the top 6 sides over the entire season. The first team is going to be Manchester City, great attacking department as expected. We then have Arsenal, Liverpool, Brighton, Newcastle, and finally United. So no surprise here that some of the better teams, or teams that are having a better season, are doing pretty well. Now the Man City one is quite interesting because a lot of us are looking to bring Haaland back into our FPL teams. And when you guys do look at that XG on penalty, you can understand why. Also myself keeping hold of Saka, hopefully he can do some damage against the Liverpool side, as Arsenal's attack is also red hot. If you guys did go for Mo Salah though, I wouldn't be too worried. You just have to hope that he does start because Liverpool's XG is also pretty good. Now I'm going to switch things up and go for the last 6 game weeks at a minimum, and you guys can see that Man City are still consistent at 2.21 XG. Now Brighton coming next with 2.15, and that's what I was talking about with my kind of transfer plan. Are you guys actually going to bench one of the Brighton attackers? Currently, if I do go for Erling Haaland, it's going to be quite a debate of who to bench, but on current form, Brighton attackers look simply undroppable. We then have Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, and then finally Chelsea, so you have its owners were slightly unlucky. But these are definitely sides to target from an attacking point of view. As I've mentioned, are you guys going to be benching a Solly, March, a Matoma, a McAllister in Game Week 30? I don't know if I can when I do look at that XG. But having gone over the best teams, let's now take a look at the worst teams. These are teams to target from a defensive point of view. For example, if one of your defenders is facing one of these teams, the chance of a clean sheet should be pretty high. So over the entire season, Southampton have been the worst attacking department. Those Man City defenders are pretty likely to keep a clean sheet this game week. With the Nottingham Forest, you Aston Villa defenders, if you guys own a Tyrone Mings, that sort of thing, then Crystal Palace, Wolves, Bournemouth, and finally West Ham. Now I'm going to bring on the right hand side because it's pretty similar to the left hand side. We just have the incorporation of Fulham here, as well as Leicester. So definitely some sides to target here from a defensive point of view. I know you Chilwell owners are going to be licking your lips at this one, as Wolves' attack has been pretty bad this season. Other than that though, simply plan your future defender transfers around these teams. Now having gone over the attacking stats, let's now go on to the defensive stats. We're going to cover the best defenses and the worst defenses, starting off with the entire season. So Man City have the best defense, the best attack, just an overall quality side, but they're followed closely by Arsenal. We then have Newcastle, Chelsea, Brighton, and then finally West Ham, and having 2 Newcastle defenders currently in my team for Game Week 30, let's hope they do keep a clean sheet. Otherwise those Chelsea and Brighton assets should be pretty popular. I've already mentioned Chilwell. Then on the right hand side, over the last 6 game weeks, we can see Man City keeping consistent. The XG conceded has actually improved to 0.66. We then have Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal, Spurs, and then finally Crystal Palace. So those top 4 sides, I can see us owning a lot of the defenders. Now going to the worst defenses in the Prem at the moment. Fulham over the entire season have an XG conceded of 1.8. And then we complete the relegation triple up of Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. Then Everton, Leeds, and then finally Liverpool. So Liverpool have crept back in to the worst defenses of the entire season, as they've been pretty bad recently as well. Then on the right hand side, we're going to see Bournemouth, Nottingham Forest yet again, but United have actually crept in to the 3rd worst defense over the last 6 game weeks at a minimum. Finally though, Fulham, Aston Villa, and Everton, a little bit expected there. Aston Villa scoring goals, but also conceding. So United is an interesting one there. What did I go and do? I brought in Luke Shaw this game week. Might not be the best defensive chance at the end of the day. Now, important one to note here is going to be Nottingham Forest. Obviously, Ollie Watkins does face them this week. So are you guys backing him with the captaincy? Also, Everton are going to make an appearance on the worst defenses this season, but I guess let's see how Rashford performs tonight. Otherwise, you James Maddison owners, Bournemouth have definitely the worst defense at the moment, but you guys would have seen that Leicester's XG isn't that great. So these teams are definitely teams to target from an attacking point of view. Already mentioned the kind of selections there, Rashford, Ollie Watkins. Some very good Campsy games, and that's why there's so many options this week. But if you guys do want to go over some other stats, go over to Fix. Their Opta Sandbox has a ton of stats to go over. I've just chosen these two. Now the next talking point to go over is going to be a little bit of a refresh in terms of the game week schedule from game week 30 to game week 38. Now the reason I want to go over this is that it's pretty confirmed, to be honest. Ben Crellin has announced his kind of fixture predictions, but I'm going to show you Mikkel Tokfums. So on screen right now you guys can see a 1.00 is going to be a single game week. Anything more than that, up to and not including 2, is going to be a chance of a double game week, and a 2.00 is a confirmed double. Anything less than a 1.00, not including a kind of dash or 0, is going to be a chance of a blank, and a dash is going to be a confirmed blank fixture. For example, go over to game week 32, there you guys can see those red kind of metrics. The dash signifies a confirmed blank, whereas the dark green or a 2.00 is a confirmed double in double game week 34. But the reason I want to show you guys this is that it's pretty confirmed. You guys can see a 1.92, a 92% chance of Brighton having a double in game week 36, or United's double in 37 is basically 98%. So the teams to target in terms of the future doubles, obviously game week 34, we've known about that one, a definite confirmed double, whereas we can almost see confirmed doubles for Brighton, United, Man City, and then finally Chelsea in game week 36 and 37. Now why I also wanted to show you this is that if you guys are on a wildcard, I'm not going to show you guys a wildcard draft in this video, but maybe in the deadline stream on Saturday I can do one. But if you're on a wildcard, definitely kind of target the Brighton, United, Man City and Chelsea assets, as long as you do have a free hit in game week 32. If you don't have a free hit in game week 32, then I would definitely target the kind of double game week 34 players more, as you can always go for those other assets later on with free transfers. But if you guys are on free transfers, definitely prioritize the Brighton, Man City and United assets, as mentioned prior, as long as you guys do free hit in game week 32. But other than that, you guys can use this as a simple kind of transfer planner if you just want to get some insight in the future doubles and the future blanks. Just pause the screen right now, but I'm going to move on. Now the last talking point to go over is going to be all about Campsy, and as I mentioned this week, so many games, so many great games, and therefore so many great Campsy options. Now I've kind of divided this into my front 3 and my back 3, and the front 3 are going to be more safe options, and the back 3 will be more differential. I just think come game week 30, as mentioned this in the transfer plan, from game week 30 to game week 38, we're currently in the end game, and therefore these Campsy choices are even more integral. Most teams are looking pretty template with the doubles and the blanks coming up, and therefore if you guys do nail the right captain, that might be the only chance of going up the ranks. Now the first player I just want to mention, because I want to get it out there, it's going to be Rashford against Everton at home. Some people have been saying the best option for this week, Everton away from home, aren't that great defensively, and they'll also be missing Decore because of his red card. Now obviously Rashford does play tonight along with Bruno Fernandes, so if you guys want to go for either of those assets, I definitely wait and see how they perform tonight against Brentford. Not the greatest of performances from United on the weekend, and therefore I want to see more out of them tonight to solidify him as my captain. But definitely one of the best options if you guys do want to go for it, but just be a little bit cautious that Everton are still fighting relegation. Now I do think Rashford will probably be the most safe option to go for. If he does score tonight, the majority of managers will probably captain him, and therefore expect his effective ownership to be pretty high. Now talking about effective ownership, a player that we're used to seeing have massive effective ownership is going to be Erling Haaland, and he's my second selection. Now this does hinge on the fact that Pep comes out in his press conference, says that Erling Haaland's train looks good, as I do think he should get about 60 minutes against Southampton away. Now 60 minutes, that's almost a double Hattie in Erling Haaland's mind, so even if he does come off the bench for about 20, he can still do some damage. Now I might not actually captain Erling Haaland because of those reduced minutes, but I do still feel like if you guys want to go for a safe option, you can't go wrong with a Man City asset. But obviously a little bit of a caveat there because he missed out in game week 29, but if he is back and plays the majority of minutes, might even be the highest scoring player in game week 30. Next up is going to be a very consistent option, also a striker, very expensive striker. It's Mr. Harry Kane, and he is Brighton at home. Now the only thing putting me off this is that Brighton at home fixture. Yes, I do think they've been conceding quite a lot of XG, but not the worst defensive side in the Prem. Added to that, the fact that Spurs aren't playing well at the current moment, you guys don't see them in the top 6 of XG non-penalty, that sort of thing, and that does worry me slightly because they aren't playing that great. But saying that though, Harry Kane is super consistent. I just don't feel like he has that massive ceiling against this Brighton side. But if you want to go for him 100% fine, I do feel like some options will also captain him, and his ownership is also pretty high. So these are my 3 safe options to look at. I think there will be differential between them. I think that Rashford might be captained by more managers, or maybe an Erling Haaland if he is confirmed back. But all eyes on tonight's fixture against Brentford for Rashford. Now taking a quick look at projected points here, you guys will see that Fix is projecting Rashford to score the least amount of points with 4.8, whereas the other two are projected to score 5.7. So spoiler alert, there's actually 4 options on 5.7 projected points for the upcoming game week, and I'm actually cheated a bit here on Erling Haaland. Now as you guys know, Fix's algorithm does take yellow flags, red flags into account, so currently I'm taking Kevin De Bruyne's projected points for Erling Haaland. Those will obviously update as we do get confirmation that he is back to full fitness, but yet again I've replaced Haaland's projected points with Kevin De Bruyne's. But now going on to the 3 differential options that I think you guys might also look at if you want to move up the ranks quite significantly. The first one is a pretty popular one after his theatrics in Game Week 29. It's going to be Ollie Watkins against Nottingham Forest at home. Now you guys would have seen Nottingham Forest the second worst defense in the Prem at the moment, at least over the last 6 games at a minimum. Aston Villa also scoring a few goals, Ollie Watkins in great form, and that's why for me he's the standout Campsy option from a differential point of view. Then we're going to go on to James Maddison. Know that Leicester haven't been playing that well in the relegation zone at the moment, but Bournemouth at home is simply too hard to ignore. You guys would have seen, unlike Nottingham Forest, they're the worst defense in the Prem over the last 6 games at a minimum. Now would I captain Maddison? Probably not. I think just owning him is enough, but I guess if you guys do want to go super differential, he's the man to go for. Now last up is going to be a player that I've kept in my own squads, but I don't think many of you would have as well. It's going to be Bukayo Saka against Liverpool away. Now the only reason I'm saying this is because I am a Liverpool fan, but we are simply terrible defensively, and we really should have lost last night against Chelsea. Now replace Chelsea with an actual good attack. It's going to be that Arsenal attack red hot, and because Saka's had his rest from his illness, I think that he should definitely be in the starting 11. So it pains me to say as a Liverpool fan, but if you guys do want to go for Saka, I can understand. Now yet again, going on to those projected points, Ollie Watkins projected to score the most points in Game Week 30 with 5.7 alongside Harry Kane and also De Bruyne. We then have James Maddison on 5.4, so a slight reduction, and finally Saka on 4.2, but just a reminder that Fix's algorithm does favour that Liverpool defence from prior seasons. So if I was to give you guys my favourite kind of differential captain, I'd definitely go for Ollie Watkins. I might probably go from, even though I might get Haaland and have Rashford in my team, I just really favour that Aston Villa side. But comment down below, who's your captain going into Game Week 30? Are you going differential, are you going safe, or are you meeting somewhere in the middle? We'd love to see your guys' thoughts on Campsy for Game Week 30. But that's basically the video guys. Hope you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like it if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Good luck for the last games of double Game Week 29 and hopefully Rashford gets a hattie. But I'm signing off. It's Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.